Hello, everyone. Today is Tzom Gedalia, and it seems to be the polar opposite of the 3 days of Kedusha in which we receive the new year. 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, 1 day of Shabbos. And ultimately, it seems like just hours later, we're mourning the death by a fellow Jew of Gedalia, not eating and not drinking. But I believe there's another message at Tzom Gedalia that's sometimes overlooked. And the message is as follows. The Gemara says that we fast on Tzom Gedalia because, and I quote Rosh Hashanah daf 18b, Shkula mitat tzadikim kisrifat beit Elokeinu. The death of great righteous people is equal to the destruction of our temples. If that's the case, then we can't end the story by Gedalia was murdered and that was the end of Jewish anything in Israel. After all, just 70 years later, the Jews came back to Israel and started to rebuild, and they even had a temple for 420 years. And that too followed up. That too didn't last. But then they came back again almost 2,000 years later, and we're in the midst of that third commonwealth. We dare not make the same mistakes, and God forbid this commonwealth will be destroyed. Rather, a day like this is a day in which we can ask ourselves, how do we ensure that the new beginning in Israel will continue? And maybe that's the reason why on a day like this, we don't just read about what happened then, but rather we read the Parsha of Vayichal. We read the Parsha in which God renewed the relationship with the Jewish people in the aftermath of the terrible sin of the golden calf. That is the appropriate Torah reading for a day like this, because a day like this need not only talk about what then happened, but rather how do we ensure to renew and, most importantly, nurture the relationship for the future. If that's the case, it's indeed a very natural flowing from Rosh Hashanah. Not only by chance was Gedalia murdered either on Rosh Hashanah or day after Rosh Hashanah, but rather, this teaches us, let's sit back for a moment and remember, it could all be destroyed. And we're in the midst of a generation where it could be renewed. If we choose the path of our Torah reading today, if we choose the path of renewal, then ultimately we will be the ones to ensure that unfortunately a first and second Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, but the third one will continue to survive. Yes, Israel has been compromised endless times, with the climax being this last Simchas Torah. Yes, Israel, believe me, is not void of any challenges. Not yet. But yes, as well, we can fix it. Just like the Jews fixed it after the sin of the golden calf, so too we can fix it if we do our part. Wishing everyone a meaningful and an efficient and an effective fast. And God willing, I hope and pray that we'll be able to see this third commonwealth continue to flourish.